Yo people, so I want to do this little video to explain a few things in relation to the videos I am doing about these royal actors. Now let's just get this straight. I call them royal actors. We know them as royal actors because they call themselves royal actors, and thus we call them royal actors. But the truth is, they are not really royal. They have made themselves royals, but they are just the bloodlines that have ruled this planet for thousands of years. Now, the colour they use as their royal colour is purple. Hence why the Queen often was wearing purple. The Queen, the matriarchy of the Matrix, who has been taken out the game. And that is why the crown had purple within it. Now, the purple originally comes from the dye from a purple sea snail, and it was so hard to come by that it made it a very rare commodity, hence why the quote-unquote royals would use it. But it's also because of Saturn's moon, Titan, and which has a purple haze, hence why Jimi Hendrix sung Purple Haze. Now, my belief and many others is of the Anunnaki theory, which is that these people are the offspring of the Anunnaki who came from the planet Nibiru and are the creators of humanity. So let's look what it says in the Bible about this. Genesis 6:1-22. When man began to multiply on the face of the land and daughters were born to them, the sons of God saw that the daughters of man were attractive, and they took them as their wives, any they chose. Then the Lord said, My spirit shall not abide in man forever, for he is flesh. His days shall be 120 years. The Nephilim were on the earth in those days, and also afterward. When the sons of God came to the daughters of man, and they bore children to them, these were the mighty men who were of old, the men of renown. The Lord saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every intention of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. So the belief is that these quote-unquote gods that came down and created humans saw the offspring of the humans and saw the females and saw that they were fair, quote-unquote, and took them for their wives any they chose. And thus they produced the offspring of the Anunnaki, which were half Anunnaki, half humans, and that is the bloodlines, quote-unquote royals, that have been ruling the earth for thousands of years. So let's look what it says here. The ancient astronaut hypothesis suggests that at its core, the Bible's Old Testament is about the Anunnaki, ancient astronauts who descended from the sky to build civilization on earth and are considered as the fallen angels. The Anunnaki, ancient astronaut, fallen angels in the Bible's Old Testament appear in Genesis 1:26 and Genesis 2:10-14, which refer to a conversation in which the Creator states that let us create man in our own image and that the gold in the land of Eden was good. The Christian Bible and other similar Abrahamic faiths have struggled to reconcile this verse with the notion of a single deity or explain the reference to gold. The biblical Old Testament account in Genesis starts to make more sense, however, once we consider ancient Mesopotamian texts which reveal that the Bible story in Genesis is actually about a group of ancient astronaut alien gods described as fallen angels who create man, or the Adamu, in their own image and place him in a garden called Eden for the purposes of mining gold. In this way, more sense can then also be made of other major events in the Bible that occur in the early parts of Genesis, like the temptation of Adam and Eve, Cain's murder of Abel, and the Great Flood. In particular, the temptation of Adam and Eve in the Bible's Old Testament is seen to be a summary of Sumerian version in which fallen angels like the Anunnaki, ancient astronaut alien gods, Enki, Enlil, are at odds over the decision to grant mankind the same intelligence as the Anunnaki gods themselves, i.e. the tree of knowledge, versus the long life of the gods, i.e. the tree of life. The Bible's Old Testament also talks about how the Anunnaki, ancient astronaut fallen angels, isolated on the Earth's colony and in need of sexual pleasure or perhaps companionship, begin to have sexual relationships with the human primitive workers. The result were half-breed demigods like Gilgamesh, king of Uruk, also referred to as the Nephilim. There were giants in the earth those days, and also after that, when the sons of God came unto the daughters of men, and they bare children to them. The same became mighty men which were of old, men of renown. Genesis 6:4. And there we saw the giants, the sons of Anak, which came of the giants, and we were in our own sight as grasshoppers, and so we were in their sight. Then, of course, there is this text from Ezekiel. The appearance of the wheels and their work was like a beryl, and they four had one likeness, and their appearance and their work was as it were a wheel within a wheel. A beryl being a brightly coloured gemstone. So there's lots of evidence within ancient cultures that ancient aliens have visited the earth for thousands of years. Here's just some. And of course there's the Dogon tribe, who had superior knowledge of the Sirius star system way before Western telescopes could see them. Then, of course, there is the Wandjina Aboriginal cave paintings, which date back 50,000 years. But, of course, we are now in the age of Aquarius. We have left the age of Pisces. And just in case you weren't sure, we're heading into a better time. We have been in Saturn Day, and we are now moving in to Sun Day. Who is the sun? Jesus is the sun. Peace!